Viva ANC, viva! Viva SACP, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Viva Pasimba, viva! Comrade GS, I'm standing to acknowledge your presence as a host of this event, together with your officials, the National Treasurer, Comrade Joyce Moloi, the second DGS, Comrade why am I? Comrade Masondo, Dr. Masondo, Comrade Deputy Chair, Comrade Deputy Chair, and we also have Central Committee members, the ones that have decided on the convention here. We've got Comrade Polibushelo, who is here, Comrade Lichisa, who is here, Comrade Jenny Shiraina, Comrade Niko, Comrade Bulelo Tunisa, Comrade Mabuse Mpe, Comrade Mlu, Relanga, Comrade Fisani Shabangu, Comrade James Numalo, Comrade Puti Manamed. So to you, members of the Central Committee, guests that we have invited today that have arrived. We have from COSATU, Comrade, we have from the ANC, the president has already been acknowledged, and we have the chair of the province, Comrade Panyaza Lisufi, who is asking to be released earlier because he has to go and join the activities in the Western Cape. We've got the regional chair, Comrade Dada Morero. We've got members of the NEC, Comrade Lindiwe Sisulu, Comrade Nobantu, Ralihoko, Comrade. We also have Comrade Jeff Hatebe, who is a former NEC member and also a former Central Committee member of the party. From COSATU, we have Comrade Duncan Luvuno, the second deputy president, who is going to speak to you later on. We have got Comrade Gerald Twala, the COSATU DGS. We then have amongst us also international guests. Among them, we have got Comrade Mangoba Mota of the CPS, Communist Party of Southland, and we also have Comrade. We also have Comrade the Charge d'Affaires of Palestine, Comrade Hassan Hussein, who's going to speak to us later on. We also have Charge d'Affaires of Sahrawi Embassy. We have Comrade of the embassy, Comrade Mulay Mohammed Fadel. We also have Comrade Ambassador of Venezuela, Comrade Carlos, and then Comrade GS. You have asked us as a build-up to have an interaction with families of departed cadres. We have a family of who are today your special guests, the family of Bani Mulukwane. They are here today, and we also have a family of Comrade Sibia, and we have a family of Comrade Jerry Simodi, Comrade Linda Jabane family. We had an engagement with them. There are interesting things that are coming up. They are appreciating that the movement still recognize that they are there, and also the party's interaction with them. And additional to that, they are asking that we should actually support them in initiative that they want to keep legacy of the family of the various families, and we agree that we are going to follow that one up. And there are also issues that they are raising in relation to how we deal with issues of benefits of families, and those include also the issue, Comrade President, that you are the amendment of the Act of the beneficiaries of the former military veterans. There are things there that are problematic, especially those that were younger and they didn't have wives, they didn't have children, and they are cut off because the previous act was saying you must have an immediate family, and then it creates a problem in managing those. They said we must pay attention to that. We have also agreed with them that we are going to have a session working also with MK LMV. We are going to have a session with all the fallen heroes somewhere in July to have a discussion to check with them whether they are well or not. We also have amongst us, beside that, also Comrade, one of those families also is Comrade, they also ask us to have programs. One of the programs that they are having is that to keep the legacy. They also said we mustn't speak, we may not have to stick too much to also political programs. We must stick also, deal also with other social programs. For instance, there's a stronger view that some of them, family of Panimlukwane, the family of Jerry Sebuti, they are saying to us, can we have cultural event and sporting event in honor of them, because that's how they were living in the community. We must connect them in that way. So those are the families that we're sending to you. We have also today, the president of SASCO is here, Comrade Alungile Kante. We have also Comrade from Sanko, Comrade, the leadership of Sanko. They have given me a name here, but I'm worried I don't see. Okay, I don't see the name that they have given me here. So we're going to change that and give you the right name. So, comrades, should we have left out anybody here, we are going to come back and acknowledge them. But want to also say that amongst your guests here is members of the community that are here, is members of the movement and members of ANC, members of the Youth League, members of the YCL, members of the party. They are here to come and listen to the message in the commemoration of the 30th anniversary of Comrade Joe Slovo. Manda!
Acknowledgements. Now, comrades, we have been formally welcomed. We have acknowledged everyone that is important that is here. We are now, without any waste of time, we are beginning with our 3 messages of support. 3-minute messages of support. The first 2 from the international front, I'm going to call the Communist Party of Swaziland, Comrade Mangoba, to come in front to give your message. As you come to the front, I want to call Comrade Basam from the Embassy of Palestine to also come to the front and be here, so that when Comrade Mangoba is done, Comrade Basam can also give us a 3 message on behalf of the people of Palestine. Style. Pansi ngetikunja pansi.
Viva ICCP, viva. Viva Kosatu, viva. Viva ANC, viva. Viva YCLSA, viva. Comrades, Lome, standing before you, Mangoba Mota from the Communist Party of Swaziland. So, comrades, I will just go through the message from the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Swaziland. As it reads, dear comrades, in the spirit of revolutionary solidarity, the Communist Party of Swaziland extends its warmest greetings to the South African Communist Party as you commemorate the enduring legacy of Comrade Joe Slovo, a stalwart of our collective struggle for justice, equality, and socialism. This commemoration serves as a powerful reminder of the sacrifices made by countless individuals in the pursuit of freedom and dignity for all. Joe Slovo was more than just a leader. He was a beacon of hope for many who sought liberation from the shackles of apartheid. His life was characterized by the tireless commitment to fight against oppression, and his unwavering dedication to the principles of socialism continues to inspire us in our own struggle. Comrade Slovo's vision for a liberated South Africa resonates deeply with our aspirations for free, democratic Swaziland, where the rights of all citizens are upheld and where the wealth of our nation is shared equitably amongst its people. Comrade Slovo understood that liberation extends beyond mere political freedom. It encompasses economic justice and social equality. He recognized that the struggle for liberation is a multifaceted endeavor, one that requires the active participation of the masses. As we reflect on his contributions, we are reminded of our responsibilities to carry forward his ideals. His belief in the power of grassroots activism and the mobilization of the working class serves as a guiding light for our own efforts. The ongoing struggle in Swaziland, comrades. Today, as we face the challenges of authoritarianism, economic inequality, and social injustice in Swaziland, we draw strength from the solidarity of our comrades in South Africa. Our nation is grappling with a regime that seeks to suppress, dissent, and stifle the voices of the marginalized. As we reflect on his contribution, Comrade Slovo, comrades, the people of Swaziland continue to endure oppression, and the need for mass mobilization has never been more urgent. We are witnessing increasing instances of police brutality, police repression, and economic hardship. The youth, who represent a significant portion of our population, are particularly affected by high unemployment rates and lack of opportunities. Comrades, in this context, it is imperative that we unite our efforts and amplify our calls for justice and equality. So, comrades, we believe that our shared history and common goals can strengthen our movement. Let us work together to honor the legacy of Comrade Joe Slovo, and by continuing the fight for just and equitable society. In these challenging times, it is crucial that we stand together, not only in our words, but also in our actions. As we conclude, we reaffirm our commitment to the principles of socialism and the liberation of our people. We look forward to your support and collaboration in our mass mobilization campaign as a Communist Party, and together we believe that we can build a brighter future for our nations and ensure that sacrifices of our heroes like Comrade Joe Slovo are never forgotten. Let us remember, comrades, that the struggle for liberation is not merely a historical event. It is an ongoing journey that requires our unwavering dedication and collective action. As we commemorate Joe Slovo, let us also commit ourselves to the ideals he championed and the vision he had for a just society. Together we can forge a path toward a world where equality, justice, and freedom reign supreme. Long live socialism, long live. Long live the spirit of Comrade Joe Slovo, long live. Phansi ngetingudla phansi. Phansi ngomswati phansi. Manda.
Awethu. Comrades, without any waste of time, we are going to call on stage Comrade Basam from the Embassy of Palestine to give us his message. Free, free Palestine.
Viva South Africa, viva! Viva Palestine, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva Communist Party, viva! Viva Kusato, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Dear comrades, allow me in the first to greet His Excellency Sir Ramaphosa, the President of South Africa and President of ANC. Also, dear comrades, Soli Mabaila, the Secretary General of Communist Party, all protocol observed. On behalf of the Palestinian people, with its political leadership and ambassador, we highly appreciate South Africa's courageous steps to prosecute Israel before the International Courts of Justice as well as before the International Criminal Court. We also thank you for all solidarity position and progressive decision, whether at the level of presidency of Republic of South Africa, the level of government, the level of the progressive parties, especially the ANC with Alliance. And we highly appreciate all the decisions of Communist Party regarding Palestine, especially the last resolution last November. Allow me to express our sincere appreciation for inviting us to the 30th commemoration of the great leader Joe Slovo. In this occasion, we salute the struggle of all freedom fighters and all free South Africans who achieved freedom and dignity for the great people. And we express our deep pride in the historical struggle relation between our two peoples. Dear comrades, the war crimes committed by the barbaric Zionist army today and settlers, guns killing tens of thousands of civilians and destroying villages, refugees camps, and cities, also to ban UNRWA. It's to implement so-called the nation-state law, which ensure that Israel is the home of Jewish people only. All the proposed solution from the Israeli side ongoing negotiation to end the genocide against our people in Gaza are being used by Israel to impose Bantustan system and to divide Gaza into 3 parts after creating chaos there, starving people, destroying all aspects of life. Today, Israel is continuing to work to transform the West Bank into other Gaza, coinciding with the rise of President Trump, who dreams to achieving the deal of the century, which not met any international legitimacy resolution to achieve just peace and security in the Middle East. Also, Israel started to attack our 1.8 million Palestinian people who are living inside Israel before the Nakba, to preparing for uprooting them. The Israeli politicians consider them as the 8th front which Israel is fighting. Dear comrades, the PLO, Palestine Liberation Organization, has worked during the past 2 years to issue the advisory opinion from International Court of Justice regarding ending the occupation within a year, and then issue the General Assembly resolution in this regard. This is the Palestinian National Freedom Project and not Bantustan system. We affirm our refusal of interference of regional and international actors in our internal and independent Palestinian decision. Dear comrades, we appeal the international community to put pressure to stop the barbaric war and to implement the Security Council Resolution number 2735. And our President Mahmoud Abbas called the General Assembly last September to impose all sanctions on Israel and to freeze its membership, as well as to ban armed sales. I thank you. Amanda.
Free, free Palestine. Free, free Palestine. Thank you. Thank you from our comrades who's representing the Palestinians. And you must remember that struggle It's not an easy one. We have seen what is happening to women and children. We have seen the brutality of the Israelites. And you know who their supporters are. They are not acting on their own. Thank you very much, and we must continue to remind the world in support of the Palestinian cause. Of course, we also appreciate the role played by our government, led by the President, in raising the consciousness of the whole world about the suffering of the Palestinians. Thank you, comrades. Comrades, we will take the messages of support from our local organizations. I'm requesting that the MK, Comrade Nombego, Daniels, comes forward together with the YCL Comrade Mzwandile. You come forward, both of you. Unestulo apha. Mzamzwayo. Comrade Nombego will be the first to take the platform. He's a Comrade Nombego. And comrades, ndizaba flexible kancinci not kakhulu. Ndiyakwazi ke unokubhoxa xa sowufuna ukulwa.
Kulo mahlathi amnyama, amnyama, kwela bothebula, kulo awasengeni, kulo mahlathi amnyama, mahlathi amnyama, kwela bothebula, kulo awasengeni, osebekhulume pitoli, khulume pitoli, khulume Bloemfontein, khulume eNkhubuhlongu, osebekhulume pitoli, ePitoli, eBloemfontein, eNkhubuhlongu, Angola yo, Angola ye, Angola yo, Angola yo, Angola yo, Angola yo, Angola yo, Angola yo, amandla, all power. Program Director, let me recognize the President of the ANC and that of the country, President Cyril Ramaphosa. Let me also recognize the General Secretary of the Communist Party,
Comrade Mapaila. Let me also recognize the first citizen of our province, the Gauteng province, Amapanyapanya, Comrade Panyaza. Zenditi embagogo comrades, ndibulise ingqanga nentsibana zalo, okoke kukuthi all protocols observed. Viva ANC, viva! Viva Communist Party, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva SANCO, viva! Umkhonto! Umkhonto! Long live the Youth League, viva! Wathinta abafazi! Long live the Young Communist Party, viva! Long live COSAS, long live! Long live the spirit of Comrade Chrisani, long live! Long live the spirit of O.R. Tambo, long live! Long live the spirit of Joe Slovo, long live! Long live the spirit of our commander, Joe Mudise, long live! Comrades, let me also recognize and greet the family of the Slovos. As we commemorate the 30 years, the commemoration of Comrade Joe Slovo, who, by the way, was our first Chief of Staff of Umkhonto weSizwe. As you can see, that Umkhonto weSizwe has produced leadership, whether in the ANC and in the party. We're here today as Umkhonto weSizwe, taking our rightful place in the ANC. Asizukhathala, comrades. No matter how we're being treated, we're not going anywhere. We took an oath to say, until our last drop of blood, we will serve the people of South Africa. And we are here today doing that. All, as MK was saying, is that Maibuye ANC, Maibuye. Maibuye ANC, Maibuye. Let the ANC come back to its own people and members. Sithi phansi ne corruption, phansi. Phansi ne corruption, phansi. Comrades, the ANC Igumbimbi in the alliance of the Communist Party has managed to do a lot of things in this country since the dawn of a democracy. But the only problem is that we're not telling our story. It is only when we want something as the ANC that we tell our story. Can we go out there and tell the people that has sent us out to liberate this country that we came back as the party, the workers, the ANC, that in national liberation democratic we have achieved? As it has been said, we have not managed to achieve economic freedom. And therefore, we are here to say, can we unite and come back and go back to the people? The people that have given us a mandate to govern this country. And can I also say that there can be no unity in the ANC or in the alliance without the first member of the ANC being the president president of the ANC? Can we take that unity from the top until the last subordinate? So that we're able, when we go out there, sikhuluma nabantu, sibonakale ukuthi we are united, and sibonakale ukuthi siumbimbi. And the workers who made sure that they run this country ungovernable must be treated with the dignity that they deserve. Amandla!
Aphila mandla ayasusi aphila mandla asusi aphila mandla leli liswe elamakomanisi asusi aphila mandla hili liswe elamakomanisi asusi aphila mandla haya susi aphila mandla asusi aphila mandla haya susi aphila mandla asusi aphila mandla Amandla! Viva the Communist Party, viva! Phansi ngohlohle sakhe phansi! Phansi ngamasela phansi! Phansi ngamasela chitha umbutho wabantu i-ANC phansi! Phambili nenkqubela phambili! Phambili nokwakha isizwe phambili! Comrades, now sizamamela uFasimba. We will hear Comrade Umzwai, the National Secretary of the Young Communist League. Comrade Umzwai.
Amandla awethu siyasibona i-state power siyasibona i-state power thina sibona Viva the South African Communist Party, viva! Viva the vanguard of the working class people, viva! Viva ANC, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva Sanko, viva! Forward to the Progressive Youth Alliance, forward! Thank you so much, Pautolo, to immediately greet the Central Committee of the South African Communist Party, the host, as led by the incorrectable, our General Secretary, Comrade Solima Paila, to recognize the leaders of the alliance present here today, ANC President, COSATU first, second, Vice President, as well as the General Secretary and the TGS, to recognize Sanko and the Progressive Youth Alliance. I've seen the President of SASCO, Comrade Alungile Kamche, is present in our midst today. The Young Communist League stands united with the South African Communist Party as we commemorate the life of Comrade Joe Slovo. Comrade Joe Slovo was a revolutionary and was also a strategic thinker, a man of unwavering principle, and a champion of the working class. He understood very well that true liberation requires a fundamental restructuring of society, a dismantling of a capitalist society that perpetuates exploitation and inequality. 30 years later, after his passing, South Africa remains trapped in the clutches of neoliberal capitalism. Our youth, who are supposed to be inheritors of the hard-won freedom that Joe Slovo and his generation sacrificed so much for, are condemned to a bleak future of unemployment and despair. The real rate of unemployment among the young people, a staggering 60%, is a testament to the systemic failure of the economic model that prioritizes profit over people. One must then ask the question, are government initiatives like youth employment accord, youth employment subsidy, just a mere window dressing, co-opted on behalf of corporate interests in the interest of capital to pacify the masses while maintaining the status quo? Comrade Joe Slovo would have recognized these deceptive tactics for what they are, a betrayal of the youth. As we commemorate his legacy, we must also critically assess where we stand as a nation and as well as a movement. What would Comrade Joe Slovo say about South Africa's present situation? What would he expect to us, the children of the revolution, as we continue to battle the structures that oppress our people? Look around you. Witness the reality of contemporary South Africa. The cost of living crisis isn't some abstract economic phenomenon. It's the empty plate on the table, the overdue rent notice, the anxiety that subjected young people to resort to speculative activities such as gambling online betting sites, while those who own these companies secure their futures. They lecture us on financial responsibility while they feast on the lifeblood of the working class and the poor. We demand substantial state investment in industries that create meaningful employment for our youth, namely emerging sectors like manufacturing, renewable energy and technology. These are the sectors that can build a self-sufficient economy, breaking our dependency on foreign capital and multinational corporations that extract our wealth and leave us with ecological devastation. We reject the triad trope of private sector-led growth. It is a myth perpetuated by the ruling class to maintain their stranglehold on our economy. Land, the very foundation of our nation, remains concentrated in the hands of the few. Radical land reform is not a radical idea. It is a necessity, a corrective measure to historical injustice. We must reclaim our land, not for revenge, but for restoration. And alongside land, we must seize control of the commanding heights of our economy. State-led pharmaceutical and mineral companies are not utopian fantasies. They are strategic imperatives in a world where resources are weaponized and nations held hostage by corporate power. The current government, the so-called government of national unity, in reality is a government on neoliberal unity. This alliance with the DA, a party fundamentally opposed to the interests of the working class, represents a profound betrayal of the National Democratic Revolution. Their austerity measures, their attacks on public service, and their unwavering support for privatization are all evidence of their commitment to a neoliberal agenda. This so-called unity is a farce, a smokescreen for a continued assault of the working class and the poor. Look at the battle over the NHI. Those who cry foul here, who raise the specter of inefficiency and collapse, conveniently forget that they readily access similar services in other, or shall we say, more developed nations. Their hypocrisy is blatant. Their agenda is so transparent. They fear a system that puts people before profit. While we strive to ensure healthcare for all, private healthcare vultures like Discovery cycle overhead, challenging NHI in court, prioritizing shareholder dividends over the lives of our people. The legal playing field itself is tilted in their favor, with the state often outmatched by legal mercenaries, bought and paid for by the capital. The hypocrisy stinks deep. Doctors who resist NHI here eagerly practice it in Commonwealth countries with similar systems. We demand the implementation of the national health insurance and the establishment of state-owned pharmaceutical companies to end profiteering from essential medicines. We must also overhaul our medical and nursing and training college by way of allocating and putting it under the Department of Higher Education, such that we are able to expand access into these institutions, equipping our healthcare professionals to serve the needs of a post-colonial society. The DA, with their crocodile tears over Bella Bill, try to mask their true intentions. They are feigned concern for educational standards, but their actions speak louder than their words. Their obstructionism is a thinly veiled attempt to cling to a past that serves only their narrow interest, a past that has failed generations of our youth. This sabotage of transformative education cannot stand, but the rot of inaction doesn't stop with the opposition. Even within our ranks, complacency and resistance to change fester. When the president calls for progress, for a radical overhaul of our education system, are met with deafening silence within his own ministers, particularly from the Minister of Education. We know the depth of challenge we face. This silence is not simply disagreement. It is a betrayal of promises made to our people. It is a dereliction of duty. Comrade President, your words ring hollow when your ministers actively undermine your vision. The time for empty promises is over. The time for decisive action is now. Mr. President, fire the basic minister Warube now. Appoint someone who shares your commitment to transformative education. Someone who will champion the cause of our youth. Someone who will build a future worthy of our children. The YCL's call for SSCP to independently contest state power is not rejection of the alliance. It is a realization of Slovo's vision. The alliance in its current state has become diluted, its revolutionary potential stifled. The NDR can no longer survive as an occasional guest of state institutions. It must be uncompromising tenant, shaping the very foundation of our government. We need an alliance that truly represents the interests of the workers and youth, an alliance that is not afraid to wield, power in the service of the people. So what do we do? What do we offer youth today? We do not ask for minor reforms, for piecemeal changes that will not shift the needle in the fight against capitalist exploitation. We demand radical systematic change. We demand nationalization of key industries like energy, manufacturing, and natural resources. But the struggle does not end at our borders. The legacy of imperialism continues to affect not just our economy, but also international relationships. The fight against neoliberal world order is a global one, and the solidarity that Comrade Slovo felt with oppressed peoples worldwide is even more essential today than it was in his time. From Palestine to Latin America, our comrades are fighting against imperialism, against neocolonialism, structures that dominate and exploit our nation. We in South Africa must continue to fight on behalf of those who suffer under imperialism's good. South Africa's economy is still tightly bound to the forces of imperialism. And as long as we remain tethered to an unjust exploitative economic system, we'll never truly achieve liberation. For us as the Young Communist League, we are saying socialism or barbarism. Amanda! Away, two! Pansi Namasela, Pansi! Forward to state power, forward!
Thank you. Thank you, Comrade Mzondile. Comrade. Itoesha comrade. Yayazi balejeni yaniva kakuhle kodwa itoesha. Time. Time, comrades. Comrade Mandla.
Amanda! Owetu! Forward to socialism! Comrades, if you parked your car this side of the building, it's a black Range Rover. I'm told it's on fire, so please quickly go and attend to your car. Your car is on fire. The registration is DY49DFGP. DY49DFGP, a black Range Rover. Please urgently go and attend to your car, comrades, before it's in trouble. Comrade Chulas, please come and announce the next speakers.
Comrades, can we have the Sanko Comrade Second Deputy President, Comrade Lucky Moloi, together with the comrade from Kosatu. Comrade Lucky, over to you. We are getting very tight. Wanda! Away, two! Dinamshazina! Aisha Pansi Bambumte. To the General Secretary of the Communist Party, Comrade Solima Paila, and the entire leadership of the party, to the leadership of the ANC, led by Comrade President Cyril Ramaphosa of the ANC and the Republic President, the leadership of COSATU, herein represented by Comrade Donovan Lufuno, and the leadership of the YCL, the family of Joe Slovo, all other protocols observed, including as observed to the provincial leadership, both of the ANC and the Communist Party here in this hosting province. Mata! On behalf of the South African National Civic Organization, we are pleased to be with the South African Communist Party today as the world and South Africa commemorates one of our great leaders and the son of the soil that led the South African victory to liberation and freedom. It is our great honor and privilege to accept the invitation from the SACP to form part of this great program. And this program, which is not only an ordinary program, but a sacrosanct event here at Avalon City.
of more significance is the SACP inviting SANCO shortly after its 5th Special Congress and within days before the celebration of the 114th birthday in Cape Town of the ANC from henceforth. First and foremost, comrades, let me stratify the issue of the leadership of the structure of SANCO for ease of reference going forward. As I stand here today, I stand as a representative of a singular united SANCO, for which there is no parallel. I will not labor on this point because it is clearly a matter of the bilateral between the Communist Party and SANCO in due course, which I must hasten to say and to add that it's been pending for a while. The ball is on the SACP's court to bounce it and to bounce it back. Unity of the alliance must never be distorted, nor compromised to satisfy renegades and disloyalty. We must take heed of the age-old warning that if we allow the truth to remain on the scaffold, evil will forever be on the throne. We have learned of one of the SACP's 5th Congress resolution on state power and how it wishes to pursue that important electoral contestation project of national importance and thus change the electoral landscape in South Africa in 2026. Similar to the matter referred to above, on unity, we await a bilateral engagement with the SACP on this matter, on how the party intends to build, and I open quote, build a powerful socialist movement of the workers and the poor, close quote. On how urgent this bilateral engagement is, shall be left on the SACP to determine its pace. Similar to the ANC, our members cut across as a common denominator of sorts, and all in pursuit of the NDR, which is the primary objective of the struggle and of the alliance. We do, however, accept that the Special Congress decision cannot be disputed nor kicked about by the guardians of the status quo. SANCO accepts that the SAC believes that it is now time to begin to shape the minds of the South African population towards socialism. We also accept that it is obvious today that the pursuit of a reconfigured alliance as an idea has not worked for almost a decade. It remains, however, a political item on the agenda of the political council, although the ANC last National Congress fell short on this critical alliance issue. For this reason, we know that the Communist Party fell short of options to pursue except to take the direction it has taken to contest the state power. Therefore, our resolve is based on the understanding that the alliance is composed of independent organizations which are free to pursue their own goals and aspirations alike. After all, much of the critical debates in South Africa pre and post deliberation growth path has been contributed by the SACP. It is against that background that we accept that the SACP now needs to explore ideas for a new paradigm to advance the interest of the working class and the proletariat in general. Therefore, our view is in sync with the expression famously made by one former Soviet Communist Party General Secretary, Mikhail Gorbachev, who once said, "Freedom of choice is the universal principle to which there should be no exceptions." In making this quotation, Sanko acknowledges that they themselves are not communist, but it cannot be denied that we have been and continue to form part of key policy formulation in constituencies in South African political landscape, and that communists' thoughts have reverberated in our minds for decades. For this reason, we concede that plurality of ideas is not a sign of weakness, but an expression of inner alliance democracy. But we all agree that neoliberalism we all agree that we all agree it's up to you to say so, but not for me. We agree. We all agree. We all agree that neoliberalism is the common enemy.
Hello.
Manda, Oweto. Comrades, as I proceed to come to a close, let me say rather we exist in an environment where the concept of civics has not been fully developed, yet fully defined in South Africa, but the less embracement in the socio-political environment, as many believe there is nothing between the left and the right of the political extremes except the NGOs. Which Sanko is neither of the NGO category either. The ideals that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. enshrined helps us to navigate the strong winds of push against any of the extremes, but to the center left, towards nationalism. But we are not nationalists either. We form part of those broad social streams embraced by nationalists. It is for that reason we take heed of Dr. Martin Luther King's that capitalism is not taking into consideration that life is social, neither is communist taking into consideration that the life is individual. As I have started with interruptions of the mic, I hereby would like to pause, Bakabana, and say,
Viva Comrade Joe Slovo, viva! Viva Comrade Joe Slovo, viva! Manda!
Comrades, we are requesting the comrades on this side, they tend to stamp on the lines. As a result, they disturb the lines. That's why it gets interrupted now and again. Santela comrades, nina basondelela ngakulo mchini lomkhulu. Inganyatheli intamo. As a result, to disturb la. Imoshe lento yethu enhle. Comrade, the second Deputy President of COSATU is now representing COSATU. Over to you, comrade.
Amanda, be rest assured. I grew up next to a hostel. I ngeke bayicale ngami lento kunyathela la. Phela umsini. Ngizobaqonda ngo. Comrades, let me take this opportunity to greet the General Secretary of the SACP, Comrade Solima Paila, the Central Committee and the collective National Office Bearers of the SACP. Ufasimba, comrade, as well, let me greet Ufasimba. I am very impressed, comrade, the way Mzwandile has spoken, the NS. He has represented the young people. May you continue, Mchana, speak unapologetically, unequivocally so, on the issues of young people. Let me take this opportunity, comrade, to greet the COSATU that is here, all the affiliates which are led by the President, Comrade Mike, who just arrived now, the first DP. In terms of the protocol, comrades, he's supposed to be ascending to the mic, but he said, I'm not a power monger. Comrade Duncan, unleash the message. Thank you very much. Comrade, let me greet the GS of Sanko. Let me greet, comrade, the President of the Republic, our President, Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, who's also the President of the Afghanistan Congress. In the past, ordinarily, Bengezi, top 5, myself, top 6, ANC comrade in these gatherings. But I think it is because this is a round number, it's 8 years. We are waiting for this 8 years. So I think let's applaud for you, President. Ngokukhulu khethekile, comrade, let me extend greetings to the family of Joe Slovo, and not forget, comrade, yourselves. Amandla! Amandla! Comrade, receive the message from the Federation of Elijah Pahaya. Ourselves, comrade, we commend the Vanguard Party of the working class for a sterling job in keeping the memory of former GS of the party, Comrade Joe Slovo, alive for 30 years. It gives us, comrades, comfort and hope as the working class that Joe Slovo's unparalleled contribution and commitment to the liberation will continue to reverberate like it was yesterday. We are also vehemently believe that this commemoration will continue be our guiding revolutionary compass as we navigate these revolutionary stormy weathers of non-antagonistic contradiction that befalls the mass democratic movement in its entirety. And we are confident that, comrade, we are going to, in the memory of Joe Slovo, will be able to reflect honestly and talk truth to one another, comrade, because we owe them that, comrade. We also celebrate this gigantic and momentous occasion with a deep feeling, comrade, of unease, and this emanates from the setbacks that we have suffered as an MTM, comrade, collective in this national general election in 24. It is the first time that we are gathered here to celebrate this gallant of the revolution when we have lost the election, comrade. We have lost the election as a collective, comrade, of which it is important that as a collective we must self-reflect and be honest about it, comrade. We therefore, as a federation, believe that collectively we must take stock of what needs to be done, comrade, moving forward. These setbacks of the elections poses a gigantic threat to the national democratic revolution and the advancement of the revolutionary working class struggle, comrade, towards socialism. It also, comrade, these setbacks, it also calls for an urgent implementation of the alliance reconfiguration that has long been avoided, comrade, President of the ANC, Mongameli. It is very important, comrades, that we honestly revisit this item of the reconfiguration. Abanye bacabanga ukuthi besikhuluma ngokunikeza nama-position or ngokuplaceana ama-elitists, they meet in the corner, so to saying. They are merely confining reconfiguration to that. And the comrades, it is said that those very same comrades that are raising these popular issues, they are also part of other organizations that are not part of us, but they are worried about our issues, comrade. When they are comrade, throughout, where all of us participating as an alliance. But today, comrades, you don't want us, comrades. You want to comrade the APC. The Alliance Political Committee, council, must be with GNU. We cannot accept that, comrade. Tina was saying that as if only GNU, that's what we have said as the COSAT, comrade. As if only, comrade, because the very same people that are there in the GNU are the very same people that they are anti-workers, comrade. These are the very same people that they are descendants, they are ideological descendants of no Chagalas. It is impossible, comrade. Actually, comrade, what we are doing is a disservice to comrade Joe Slovo's memory to say issue of land, which is in the Freedom Charter, we are giving that lumpen to continue that thing, comrade. That lumpen is a minister of land. Comrade, is actually, I'm failing to go to the president is here, but however, comrade, it's very important that it is, comrade, wrong. And Chairman Mao is very clear in his selected words that we must always, comrade, correct our mistakes. We must always revisit. And if what we are doing or what has been corrected, it will help the people, then we must correct it. That's what Mao is saying, comrade. Ourselves, president of the ANC and president of the country, I think we have erred, and it is human to err. We have erred to say, because land is among the issues that we are fighting for in the Freedom Charter. But you are putting someone who is the antithesis of what we are believing in to come and safeguard the issue of land. I think we have erred on that, president. Hence, we are saying as a working class, that is why even in the sector of the organizing, it's agriculture. We can't have that man, that matriculant. Office comrade, it is very important that we are not fighting, we are pro-building a society that is diverse. But it cannot be at the expense of the working class and the poor. We are, comrades, supporting that we must build a just society. But it cannot be at the expense of these retrenchments that we are seeing, comrade president. These retrenchment, comrades, that are ballooning everywhere. As we speak even today, ArcelorMittal is retrenching 3,500. Last year, almost more than 10,000 people in the mining sector are being retrenched. Power stations are being closed. At the expense of the working class and the poor. Ourselves, comrades, we are saying that we cannot, if indeed we want to correct what our members or what our people, our masses, they feel alienated by the posture that we are taking, by a handful that is there in the MDM. There's a handful, of course, comrade, that those petty bourgeoisie which are brought to come and defend the status quo. It cannot be, president. Yes, indeed, we must agree and be thankful that we are having the ballot bill and we are going to build an eagle eye look so that it can be safeguarded and be implemented to the fullest, comrade. President, we are saying that we know and we apologize on behalf of the MDM to Comrade Joe Slovo that we are in court as the Federation trying to defend the constitutional right of the Public Workers Union, whom are being barred to participate or lead in the choice of their political organization. We apologize to Joe Slovo, Comrade Joe Slovo, for the retrenchment in the private sector, the balloon, comrade. We apologize to Comrade Joe Slovo, comrade, to the privatization of the SOEs. Transnet has been private. There is no other way, comrade, to put this. There is no other way to put this. Transnet has been privatized. There is no other way, comrade, to say we're on the verge to see the airline that is making profit all of a sudden was on the verge of being privatized. But I did promise the professor here that I'll be very short, because if you don't listen to the professor, we'll have a problem. But before sitting down, leadership, ourselves as an MDM, that is why, comrades, we cannot overemphasize the need that we must reconfigure, comrades. We must reconfigure, comrades, because all the stormy weather that we've weathered in the past during the liberation struggle, it was because of the unity that we had. It was because we were able to identify who's the enemy. Now it's becoming difficult, comrade, to identify who's the enemy. You cannot say that now you are one of us, but someone wants, comrade, to sell out SAA. You cannot, someone is one of us, but in the midst of that, you want to retrench at the midst of maximum profits. As the Federation, we are saying that let's come, comrades, collectively, and sit down and talk about these issues. Comrades, the situation of 2026 will be dire to all of us. We cannot afford not to be at the helm, comrade, of government. But however, it begins with us as an alliance leadership. Comrades are pompous. They think the organization is theirs. Comrades, we have inherited these organizations. We are lucky to lead, comrades, to be put in these particular positions. But the least we can do to this organization, let's leave them, not to destroy them. History will judge us very harshly, comrade Solima Pada, comrade Cheers. History will judge us, comrade Sri Ramaphosa. History will judge us, comrade Zingiso in her absence. But comrade Mike, because he's here, that
in our lifetime, during our leadership, we're a generation whereby we've lost power and also brought back the ideological descendants of the previous regime to come and lead. Amanda!
Manyana ni basebenze. Manyana ni basebenze. Manyana ni basebenze. Manyana ni basebenze. Bathi kama lenhlangano hikosatu, hikama lenhlangano hikosatu, hikama lenhlangano hikosatu, hikama lenhlangano hikos. Thank you, Comrade Duncan. Comrades, we are now moving, and I'm requesting the comrades here to be left only with Comrade Mandla. I'm going to be calling and requesting the comrades to bring, by the way, I must correct this. The deputy president of the ANC was here previously. Now, today we have the president of the ANC. There's an improvement. And we like it because we want to listen to our leaders. Especially now that we're going to January 8th, which is on the 11th. He's just going to give us a prelude to what is going to happen in Cape Town. The president of the African National Congress. I'm requesting the comrades, President Cyril Ramaphosa, to come forward. The ANC yasetyenzelwa, alala yaset. The ANC yasetyenzelwa, alala yasetyenzelwa, halala, halala iyeyo yasetyenzelwa. Halala, halala, iyoyo yaset, ANC yasetyenzelwa, halala yasetyenzelwa, ANC yasetyenzelwa, halala yaset, hayithengwa ngethenda. Halala iyoyo yasetyenzelwa, hayithengwa ngethenda. Halala iyoyo ANC yasetyenzelwa. Amandla! Viva ANC, viva! Viva President Ramaphosa, viva! Viva the Alliance, viva! Comrade President.
Amandla! Amandla! Viva SACP, viva! Viva COSATU, viva! Viva SANCO, viva! Long live the African National Congress, long live! Amandla! General Secretary, Comrade Solima Paila, the GS of the South African Communist Party, the other officials of the South African Communist Party who are here present, the leaders of COSATU who are here, and the leaders of SANCO,
members of the National Executive Committee of the African National Congress, as well as the leaders of the ANC provincial structures, the leadership of the ANC Women's League, the leadership of the ANC Youth League, the YCL, the Liberation War veterans, and comrades and friends. Comrades, I am truly honored to have this opportunity to be here present. Comrade Tulas is right. I was here when I was Deputy President. And I'm particularly pleased to be here as President of the African National Congress on such an important 30th commemoration. When I arrived, the leadership of the party, Comrade Soli, and them were leading me into this precinct. And they said, President, you see, we've even rolled out a red carpet. And I said, yeah, ngayibona le red carpet. Kodwa nithi i-DA aniyithandi kodwa ninekhala e-blue. Nifaka ne-blue, mina angifuni ukuhamba kule blue. I just want to walk on the red. So comrades, it's actually a joy to be here. Comrade Panyaza, who has just left because he's going to Cape Town to the meeting of the National Executive Committee, which will be considering the January 8th statement. I told him that he should go ahead and inform them that I will probably run late because I've got to be here until the end. I can't leave when Comrade Soli is speaking. But Comrade Panyaza then said to me, as the song was going on, as it was starting, yeah, asifuni GNU. What to Comrade Panyaza, President, close your ears so that you must not hear ngati hayi ngizele yona leyo nto. I want to hear the song uma abantu bethi abayifuni GNU. Comrades, it is a joy to be here, particularly to commemorate the extraordinary life of the revolutionary Comrade Joe Slovo Commemorating. We gather here not only so that we can honor his contribution to the struggle for liberation, but also to reflect on his legacy and how we can draw lessons from his life, from his actions, as well as from his character. In the 3 decades since Comrade Joe Slovo passed away, our country has been transformed in many, many ways, as all of us here will attest to. The South Africa we live in today is different from the South Africa that we all lived in when Comrade Joe Slovo was alive. Our democracy, which Comrade Joe Slovo was one of the prime architects, he is one of those who built this democracy that we have. Our democracy is a robust one. It is sometimes noisy, but it is also a democracy that allows that we should hear all voices. And today, at this time, It is a democracy that allows me as well to stand here and hear voices that are speaking in favor of what we are seeking to do in government, but also to hear voices against the GNU, to also hear voices of those who say we may well have made a mistake. Yes, this is the democracy that Comrade Joe Slovo devoted his life. Yes, while we are facing many challenges, our democratic state has in many ways developed a way in which we can tolerate each other, we can listen to each other, and we can even take counsel from each other, no matter how the counsel is delivered. As the comrades were standing up to speak, I knew that they would be articulating views that are strong. One of the journalists, Umaseko, as I came in, standing next to Comrade Soli, the President, you know who to Comrade Soli is against the GNU. Mati, yes, I know. He's fiercely against the GNU. But we are united together about the transformative process that we must embark on to change our country and to move it forward. We are united together in prosecuting the National Democratic Revolution. Our constitutional institutions safeguard and advance all our rights as South Africans, as comrades. Across the country, millions of South Africans have seen the progress that has been made, and yet we all agree that while much has changed, many of the features of our apartheid past still remain. The shadow of apartheid is still with us. Apartheid still casts a shadow on the lives of many of our people. As we move forward, that shadow continues to follow us. We are a country that is characterized by extreme inequality, by poverty, unemployment, and unemployment defines the conditions of the lives of many of our people. Communities are threatened by crime and violence. In some areas, the state itself is unable to reliably provide the protection and the services that our people need. Comrade Tulas Mercy has been very strong on this podium, talking against corruption. Corruption undermines the capability of the state, and it also erodes the institutions of society, and it also diverts away those resources in the country, those resources that are needed most by our people. Many elements of the social and economic construct of apartheid colonialism that Comrade Joe Slovo so effectively described and so fiercely opposed still remain today. The mission to which he dedicated his life is not yet complete. That we must concede. It is, however, our shared responsibility as the liberation movement, but more particularly as the alliance, as well as the broader democratic movement, and also as the people of South Africa, to complete the work that Joe Slovo started and left unfinished. It is our responsibility as the Alliance to pick up the spear where it has fallen. Joe Slovo was exceptional in many ways. And this is the day when we should focus on remembering Joe Slovo and see what lessons we can draw from his life. A number of us here were privileged to have worked very closely with Joe Slovo, to have seen how he worked at close range, how he interacted with the giants of our movement like Oliver Reginald Tambo, Moses Mabhida, Ubaba Kotani, Nelson Mandela, Ubaba Walter Sisulu Mama, Albertina Sisulu, and many others. When presented with the opportunity as a person to embrace the privilege of being a white South African, Joe Slovo chose to side with the oppressed and the exploited. He was born into a world of privilege, but he forsook that privilege and sought to join issue with us, to join the struggle on the side of the oppressed and the exploited. Joe Slovo chose a life of struggle, a life of adversity, of exile, and also of great personal risk. Like many other compatriots who joined the struggle for freedom, Comrade Joe Slovo held fast to the principle that justice is universal. He believed that justice, whether it be social, political, or economic, cannot be available to one person to the exclusion of any other. It cannot be allocated according to race, gender, or class. This principle has been a common thread throughout our struggle. The ANC's strategy and tactics says that we seek to build a society that is based on the best in human civilization. It says that this society should find expression in the management of human relations based on the political equality and social inclusivity. For Joe Slovo, the achievement of such a society required a coherent understanding of the society we are seeking to change. He had one of the most analytical and incisive minds and a remarkable ability to capture the essence of any idea, of any phenomenon, or any development. He was one of those who you always knew when confronted with a problem, he would not do just slapdash. He would sit back and analyze a problem and look at all sides and come up through the process of analysis with what he believed was the solution in line with the National Democratic Revolution principles or ideology. He was eager and willing to debate, not so much to prove himself right, but to enrich and to deepen understanding of the collective as a whole. He was never impatient. He was never emotional. He was always rational and willing to listen. And he was a writer of seminal documents that came to influence the broader perspectives of our movement. It was during that time that the Alliance and the democratic movement as a whole looked up not only to him, but to the South African Communist Party as the vanguard organization of our revolution, as the one where the best ideas would come from, as the well-considered views would be put forward, and they would always be put forward calmly, with great incisiveness, and with great patience to get everyone to understand the import of what was being put forward. Following his example, we need to revive the culture of political thought within the liberation movement if we are to build the society that we want to achieve. We need to understand the economic, the political, social, and cultural forces that shape our society. We need to demonstrate the kind of intellectual honesty and rigor that characterize the work of Joe Slovo and other great theorists of our movement. President Nelson Mandela once said that Joe Slovo was not an armchair politician, but he was a revolutionary who practiced what he believed in. Madiba said, Joe did not only interpret the world, he helped to change the world. This was one of the great strengths of Joe Slovo, the person whose life we are commemorating today, the person whose character we are remembering today, and the person whose style we need to emulate. This was one of his great strengths. He was a strategist, but he was also an organizer. He understood what needed to be done to advance the struggle and applied himself to the task of the moment in practical terms. As a leader, he occupied many positions of great importance within the liberation movement as the first white member of the ANC National Executive Committee, as the General Secretary of the Communist Party, and as the Chief of Staff of Umkhonto weSizwe. He occupied these positions not because he sought them, not because he pushed himself, not because he wanted them, but because he was recognized by his comrades as an outstanding leader of proven capability. He did not try to push people out of the way so that yena akhethwe abanye bawele ngaseceleni. He did not do that. In each instance, he understood the value and the task of the liberation of our people, and he literally threw himself into the execution of that task. Now today we find ourselves in an environment where positions of responsibility are often associated with access to power and resources. We have unwittingly elevated the status of responsibility within the state to the detriment of building our movement as a powerful instrument for social and economic change. One of Joe Slovo's most exceptional attributes was his ability to appreciate changing conditions in the course of our struggle and to anticipate the need for new approaches. He was firm in strategy, but he was also flexible in tactics. He was among those who saw the need for the shift to armed struggle in the midst of an intransigent government and a repressive apartheid regime. He was one of those with Comrade Madiba who concluded that we must pick up arms and fight the apartheid regime. And as negotiations for a democratic transition got underway, Comrade Slovo was among those who argued for the suspension of the armed struggle. Yes, that decision was severely opposed within our ranks in the African National Congress and the Alliance. Comrades just did not understand why we would enter negotiations without prosecuting our struggle to ultimate victory and march into Pretoria with our guns blazing. But he understood the exigencies of that moment. He led the debate in the ANC also on very tricky concepts such as the sunset clauses as a means to break the negotiations deadlock and clear the way for the adoption of an interim constitution. And this came from a high-ranking communist leader who saw that the moment that we were in required different tactics so that we can use that as a beachhead to move forward and to strengthen our own position, to use that as leverage. He is one of those who produced a document that finally said, apart from adopting the sunset clause, where we would retain those who were our arch enemies in certain positions for some time, we should utilize the moment to strengthen ourselves and indeed, and so that we can get to know the ropes of government and all that, and that's exactly what we did. He was also one of those who said initially, yes, we should embrace the notion of the first government that was led by Ubaba Nelson Mandela. He had the political courage to advocate for positions that represented a break with established practices. And he had the intellectual honesty and standing within the movement to argue persuasively and patiently for those positions. He was able to demonstrate how these changes in tactical approach were the best way under the prevailing circumstances to advance the National Democratic Revolution. He was also able to demonstrate how inaction or an adherence to tactics that no longer served their purpose could set back the liberation struggle. Comrades, this capability is as valuable and as necessary now as it was then when we negotiated the transition from apartheid to democracy. Those were difficult choices. Those were almost like impossible choices. In the elections last year, as we all know, the African National Congress suffered a great electoral setback. As a consequence, the conditions in which we pursue the NDR today is different from the conditions that prevailed in the first 30 years of our democracy, because we did not win an outright majority as to be able to govern on our own as we have done in the past 30 years. This is not the first setback that the movement has experienced in its history. The electoral outcome does not, comrades, signal the terminal decline of the ANC, nor does it represent the defeat of the National Democratic Revolution. However, the electoral outcome has sent a clear message to our movement that we must act differently, that we must act decisively and with urgency to restore the confidence of the people of our country in the African National Congress. This setback has required that we understand the nature of the changed conditions and that we adopt approaches that will maintain the momentum of fundamental economic, political, and social change in our country. Now, as the Alliance, we have the responsibility to carry the hopes of our people, especially in trying moments. We must continue, as Joe Slovo would have done, to continuously assess the balance of forces, to continuously analyze the terrain of struggle, and to review our tactical approaches accordingly. At this time, we should recall Joe Slovo's capacity for critical and honest examination of the liberation movement, its policies, its practices, its progress, its strengths and weaknesses, as well as its opportunities and threats. We need to speak openly about our own failures and weaknesses so that we can draw the necessary lessons and, importantly, take the necessary corrective action. This does not mean that we should diminish the progress we have made or disregard the substantial capabilities and strengths that reside within our movement. We need to move with urgency and boldness to implement the actions that arise from the lessons that we have learned. But we must also be willing to listen to one another. Yes, the African National Congress must be willing and prepared to listen to comrades who are saying the GNU is a mistake. We must listen. Similarly, every one of us must also listen to the path that is being taken and look out for the dangers and make all of us alert to the dangers that we see. We must also undertake the renewal and rebuilding of our movement and alliance with greater vigor and purpose. We must be prepared to discard the approaches that no longer serve their purpose and to embrace innovative and new tactics that take our struggle forward. Joe Slovo, comrades, was an embodiment of the Revolutionary Alliance. As a leader of the ANC, SACP, and Umkhonto weSizwe, he understood most keenly the respective roles and responsibilities and objectives of each of the alliance components. He articulated with great clarity the purpose of the ANC in advancing the National Democratic Revolution and its part towards the realization of the mission of the South African Communist Party. He understood the role of the progressive trade union movement, firstly as SACTU and then as COSATU. He also understood the role that is played by civic organizations. He played an important role over time in shaping how these formations worked together and in developing their common program of action. For him, the relationship between the ANC and the SACP was vital. Through the contributions of people like Joe Slovo, the SACP has been a very central organization to refining the ANC's ideological outlook. Together, the two formations have pursued common ends and undertaken common programs that have advanced the cause of the people of South Africa. The SACP has been a strength behind the ANC. Similarly, the ANC has been a pillar of strength to the SACP. And the two need each other. The SACP needs the ANC needs the SACP. The two are like twins. Separating them is to weaken our NDR. Getting one to work separately is to weaken the National Democratic Movement. We therefore need to strengthen our resolve to prosecute the NDR to finality, knowing very well that yes, the SACP's mission is to build socialism in South Africa. While the conditions in which we struggle have changed very substantially over the last 30 years, our common overall objective remains the same: the achievement of a national democratic society. At such a time, the lessons from the life of Joe Slovo will really stand us in good stead. There are many aspects to Joe Slovo's legacy. Of these, perhaps the most compelling is his vision of the future, particularly when he said, "Humankind can never attain real freedom until a society has been built in which no person has the freedom to exploit another person." If we are to appreciate the meaning of the life and the struggle of Isitwalandwe Siaparangwe, Joe Slovo, then we must dedicate our every effort and our every means to the achievement of this vision. And this vision is best achieved when we have a strong alliance, when the four parts of the alliance work together, joined not only in the arms, but joined to the hip, strengthening one another, making each other strong. That is when, yes, this state power that the party is talking about will then be attainable for the democratic movement. And as we get there, we are then able to turbocharge the NDR to higher levels. Doing it differently and separately, we then just create splinters. We have seen how splinters have weakened the African National Congress. When you look at the various parties that have splintered from the ANC, you then begin to understand that through that splintering process, from the late 50s, through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and 2000, the ANC has been weakened. And recently we have seen how those splinters have thoroughly weakened the ANC. We need to ask ourselves whether we are truly serious about winning state power on our own as the alliance. Because if we are, then we walk together. If we walk separately, then we must then accept that yes, state power is going to be diffused and is no longer going to reside in the hands of the mass democratic movement or the alliance. That is the choice we have to make. And that is the message that I want to put forward. As I say, let us remember Joe Slovo. Joe Slovo stood for a strong alliance. Joe Slovo, despite the challenges and difficulties, he wanted to see an alliance that is strong. Forward with the memory of Joe Slovo, forward. Forward, ngesithwalane with Joe Slovo, forward. Amandla. Forward with the South African Communist Party, forward. Maikule, South African Communist Party, Maikule. Amandla. Thank you, comrades.